Conversations with Jamie-Lee and Daniel Baron.
The next one's going to be with Zane Lowe.
Yeah.
So with this EP, Medicine Woman, my theme throughout is self-love. And We Need to Talk manifested through a conversation that I had been having with myself for quite a while. And that is about letting go of the past and looking forward. And this conversation, I mean, obviously, you know, there's parts of our lives where we talk to ourselves, if it's out loud or just internally. And with this song, I mean, there were both experiences where I needed to sort of express what I was feeling in the past. And you can hear that in the lyrics. If you know, like, the message throughout the song, you can hear that there is a real experience of internal discomfort, internal questioning, internal discovery. But what I loved about writing the song is that when growth is always uncomfortable, and I mean, even if you look at kids, you know, they have growing pains. And I felt like this EP was the result of growing pains and going through something that had to happen in order for me to be here. So We Need to Talk was definitely inspired by self-acknowledgement and self-growth.
Well, I got a message, I think it was a message on Facebook from Jamie, saying, you know, it was from Shiran, wasn't it? What? I think it was from you, Jamie. Yeah, I got a message and just saying that we'd love to just chat to you about you know, possible, you know, new music and making new music and production and stuff. And then we had that sit down. We had a lovely meeting over here and getting to know each other, chatting about what Jamie wanted to do, where she wanted to take her music, what kind of sounds she was into, and then it just, you know, flourished from there. You know, it was, you know, we started on the first song. Fast forward, that song released and still doing really, really well. I mean, it's like all over the charts and playing on pretty much every radio station in South Africa, and it was beautiful to just see that happen really quickly and come to life. I mean, they released the song and it just like boomed straight away off the get-go. And that's when you know there's something special about a creative team. And then we went straight into the second one, which is We Need to Talk. And, you know, every song is different. You can't compare songs. We kind of like kicked into another kind of dimension kind of thing with this, and it was just a creative explosion in many ways. The song just formed very quickly, and yeah, I mean, what we were chatting about now, like Jamie came up with this beautiful like verse thing that just like was just so different and unique, and we messed around with such cool like claps and guitar plucks and different things that created just intriguing magic, audio magic, but in an organic kind of way.
How many tracks have you guys created together so far?
So the EP is, obviously I came here to record like a body of work, and I had songs previously that I brought into studio. So how it happens is that I write songs and then I bring them in, and then Daniel will help me create a bridge, or if the chorus is, you know, if it needs work here or needs work there, then we work on them together that way. But I think thus far like 5.
It's 5, yeah.
Like 5 tracks.
And what's beautiful is each track has been a journey in itself, but we're creating this body of work that has this beautiful theme and this beautiful golden thread that runs through the whole thing. But in saying that, it's just been it's been an absolutely beautiful experience to witness Jamie's artistry and work with her voice. Her voice is like none other that I've ever worked with before, and it's really something special, especially for a female vocalist. There's qualities that Jamie possesses that are very unique to a female vocalist, and yeah, it's just been a joy. It's been a real privilege working with her.
I'm not paying him for this interview. I think what I also loved about making this track is that we used my voice as an instrument. So obviously a lot of people are not aware that they don't classify the voice as an instrument if they're not aware that it is. But we really used it creating different sounds and different effects. And it came about in a very natural way, which is always my sort of, I love that approach, that it's organic and that it's natural, it's not forced. And in my opinion, you can hear that in the track. I think that it speaks for itself.
Well, my favorite part for this song, there was a part that I'll never forget. We created this verse part. We put we had the bass beat. We had just this organic kind of very minimal. I think that's the entire thing with the song. It's very minimalistic. It's very simplistic. There's not a lot of there's the vocal, and then there's this intriguing beat with claps and sort of things, which is quite complicated if you look at the production of it, but it's built to be simple. Then we just thought, where do we take this chorus? Like, it needs to kick up a gear somehow, because it's already cooking, it's already simmering so nicely, but we need to explode somehow. And then we just sat, and Jamie had the guitar and we had the piano, and we just wrote this thing, and this chorus, this fierce, powerful, self-empowering chorus that just moved us. And then we quickly recorded. I love to do that. I love to just get Jamie straight onto the mic, sing it literally. The first take sometimes is, especially with Jamie, the first take just is magic. And then we press play. And this is the moment I'm talking about now. Jamie was sitting there, I was here, and we just clicked play, and it went into the chorus. And we both just jumped up, and I was like, yeah. And then when we called Sharon in to come and listen, she was going ballistic as well. I get goosebumps thinking about it. It was a real moment. And that was, my favorite moment.
The music video for me was, there were a few veins that were running through the body of the music video. There was a conversation, because We Need to Talk is obviously about a conversation. It's an internal conversation for me, but for people out there, it could be a conversation that you're having with your mum. It could be a conversation that you're having with your boyfriend. There are so many conversations that I think we have in our daily lives, and in the music video I was trying to portray that these conversations are so important, but the most important is the conversation that you have with yourself. And self-talk is very, very important to me. I think that it's imperative to our mental health on a daily, and I think that that's a very important theme running through the day and age that we're living in. And in those car scenes, that realization and that acknowledgement of what I was feeling in the other scenes is what I was trying to portray. And that there's a massive intensity with the song, and I think that the music video, I think that you could feel that, and that's what I felt writing it. That's what I felt in this room, producing it and writing it with Daniel. It was that intensity, and I think you can feel that in the video. And that was my purpose. So I think that the whole team did a really good job of that.
I think with all Jamie's music, a challenging part is, and I see myself in her as well, perfectionistic, or Jamie's a perfectionist. So I think a challenge is I will hear perfection in my ears, and then she'll listen to it, and then she will pick out one or two things, especially in maybe her vocal sort of stuff, because she just is so she just wants it to be so perfect in her mind and present her vocal so perfectly. She'll pick out things, and then I'll listen to it and I'll be like, but there's freaking nothing wrong with that. It's perfect. And then she'll hear something needs to be better. And I think that can be challenging as producer versus artist, but then we delve back in, we get her back on the mic, because it's my job to make sure the vocalist is 100% happy with the representation of their work. So yeah, I think the challenges there are where but then again, I fully understand it because I'm exactly the same. So yeah, so that's, I suppose, the challenge.
So I'll get my stick. Give me 1 second. Anyway, let me tell you the story about the stick. I grew up in Krugersdorp, and a few years ago I went on a sabbatical, like a writing sabbatical, and I went back home for just over a month to write an album. And growing up in Krugersdorp, obviously your life is very different to the city. And I didn't wear shoes often, and later on I discovered that it's actually called earthing, because you are, it's very esoteric, but you are connecting to the earth, and shoes are our barrier in doing that. And a stick, on the sabbatical, I started doing earthing again, and I really wanted to go back to my roots and write about my life back home as a child. And I was staying at this amazing little cottage, and every morning I would go for a walk. And naturally, when you grow up on a farm, you always have a stick with you, because there's snakes and there's, I don't know, whatever animals around you, and you always have a stick. But I couldn't find the right stick. And eventually, on one walk, I found a stick, and I felt like I needed the stick with me all the time. So whenever I walked, I took the stick with me, and it was a grounding for me. So I mean, like this stick, I have a lot of sticks all over in my life, and in the video, the stick for me is just a symbol of my being humble, grounding myself. And it's also like a bit of a powerful thing. You know, I think Merlin the wizard had a stick. I think all wizards have sticks. And sometimes I feel like a wizard. And I think that's why the album is called Medicine Woman, because there's a mysticism and there's a spiritual feeling about when I write music and how I feel about writing music. I do feel that there is a little bit of magic. So my stick is part of that magic. Krugersdorp for me is interesting because it's got a lot of character, and one part of Krugersdorp that not a lot of people go into is West Krugersdorp. And I have always loved that area because it's got so much character, and it's got such beautiful textures and such beautiful human beings that live there that are undiscovered. And I love that about any city, any part of any country. That's what intrigues me, is the untouched places and the places that people wouldn't necessarily go to. And that's why I chose Krugersdorp. So obviously I hadn't worked with him before, and we're quite new. We're a new writing, producing couple, if you want to call it that. But what I absolutely love about working with Daniel as a producer is that he has an EQ. An EQ for me is most of the time more important than IQ, because he is so sensitive to reading what I'm trying to say and listening. Not listening to reply, but listening for the intent of listening. And what I really appreciated, and what I appreciate about working with him, is that he gives me the space to express, and he gives a real understanding about what I want to say, and that's what he wants to produce. He doesn't want to mask it. He doesn't want to put glitter on it. He doesn't want to make it look fake so that it can be something that it's not. He's very, very sincere. And I actually haven't worked with a producer that has made me feel safe, and that's given me a safe space to express myself, not only as an artist but as a woman, and to feel safe in that space. And I think that in our industry, that's very rare as a woman. So I'm very grateful, and I'm very lucky to have found this very special man.
I think what we should do is let's bring in the guitar now.
One of the triangle.
Am I criminal? Is it chemical? I'm not who I was before. I believe